I would say that a lot of people have a misunderstanding of how history is studied and is taught. For a lot of people, they think of history as being set in stone, already decided. There is a list of names and facts and dates that you memorize. And then after you've memorized them, you take a test on them. And then you either pass the test or you don't. And then you move on to the next thing. And that's history. History is something you're kind of told happened, not something you really explore. And that's actually not how history is studied on the professional level, or I think in the classroom level. One of my favorite historians, a guy named Ed Ayers, he teaches out of the University of Richmond. He says that history is a discussion, right? History is an ongoing discussion between different sources and different people and different perspectives. And it's happening all the time. And one of the most exciting things about studying history is that you get to be kind of put in the middle of that discussion, and you get to examine new information, updated information, and different narratives of the same event until you start to get a feel for what happened. And so that discussion is happening all the time. And I feel like a lot of Americans haven't been given that experience before. And so I think that's kind of where we hit these moments where people are trying to legislate how history should be taught. There's just, as my role as a history teacher is to provide my students with as much as possible the actual words or actual images of the people and places and things that we are studying. So my students can examine primary sources, they can read multiple perspectives and multiple viewpoints on things and come to a conclusion based on a preponderance of the evidence that they've looked at. That for me is my role as a history teacher. Yeah, some of the skills that I hope my students get out of these lessons. I talk a lot about empathy, actually, that history is really a study in empathy in a lot of ways. Being able to place ourselves in a place and a time and try to understand how events, whether it be battles or laws that were passed, how events affected people, is a really, really powerful skill, particularly in today's world, where it can be easier not to have empathy than it is to have empathy. And history, I think, is a wonderful teacher for giving children that basic sense of empathy for their fellow human being. I also hope that they emerge as critical thinkers, that they seek multiple perspectives, and they are able to hold multiple kind of harder concepts at once, and understand that history is complicated and it's complex and it's frustrating. And very often you don't arrive at easy answers. It takes, a lot of study and back and forth. But that's what makes it so fun.